Grace in the Chaos. Princess Anne's quiet visit to Liverpool's heroes. The air inside Liverpool's Alderstone Memorial Hospital held a strange calm, the kind that clings after sirens fade and adrenaline subsides. Outside, drizzle streaked the windows, smearing the city's signature gray skies like a watercolor. Inside, it was a different storm, one not of weather, but of human resilience, exhaustion, and, on this particular day, quiet recognition. 2 days earlier, Liverpool had been jarred by a multi-vehicle crash near the King's Dock roundabout. The pileup, which involved a commuter bus, 2 lorries, and several cars, had left 24 injured and tragically claimed 3 lives. The scene had been chaos, a tangle of twisted metal, broken glass, and the echo of sirens. And in the middle of that chaos stood the first responders, firefighters, paramedics, and police officers who didn't hesitate. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So when the news came that Her Royal Highness Princess Anne would be making a private visit to thank the hospital staff and emergency workers, the atmosphere subtly shifted. Princess Anne, the no-nonsense royal, known for her dedication to duty, her decades of quiet service, was coming not for publicity, but for the people. A royal visit without the pageantry. Princess Anne's motorcade was modest. No red carpet. No trumpet fanfare. Just a convoy of 2 black Range Rovers pulling quietly into the hospital's rear entrance shortly after 10 a.m. The Princess Royal stepped out in a tailored navy coat and simple brooch, the silver fern of New Zealand, a nod perhaps to international solidarity and service. Hospital staff lined a short hallway, not out of obligation, but respect. Nurses fresh off double shifts, EMTs still smelling faintly of antiseptic and engine oil, doctors with charts in one hand and questions in the other. She moved through them with practiced grace, her eyes meeting theirs one by one. No rushed handshakes. No distant smiles. She asked for names. She listened. "I heard you were on scene within 6 minutes," she said to Fire Officer Patel, who still bore a bruise across his cheek. He had pulled a mother and child from a crushed Peugeot while flames licked the vehicle's side. "Yes, ma'am. We were just clearing another call nearby." Lucky in that way. Princess Anne tilted her head. Or prepared. And brave. He didn't quite know what to say. Most first responders don't. Praise doesn't sit easy with people who train for worst-case scenarios and then live them out. The pediatric wing and the power of presence. Upstairs, in the pediatric ward, young Ellie Harrow had been watching cartoons when the door to her room opened. She was 7, with a broken arm and a spirit as fierce as a lion cub. Her parents had been injured in the crash, too. Her mum still in ICU, her dad recovering in the next room. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Princess Anne didn't crowd her. She sat in the chair beside Ellie's bed, the same one her father had vacated when he was wheeled to surgery. She asked Ellie about the stuffed rabbit on her lap, Mr. Snuffles, and about her favorite flavor of ice cream. It was lemon sorbet, oddly enough. Then the princess leaned in conspiratorially. "You know, Mr. Snuffles looks like he'd make a fine palace guard. All that fur would fit right in at Buckingham." Ellie giggled. Her first smile in 2 days. Moments like that, unbroadcast, unposed, have a gravity the cameras can't capture. They echo in the lives touched. Behind the uniforms, human stories. In the hospital's break room, Princess Anne met with 6 of the first responders who had been at the scene of the crash. They didn't expect tea service, but it was there, a quiet offering, not ostentatious, just comforting. The room smelled faintly of coffee and worn-out uniforms. "You often see people at their worst," she said after the small talk settled. "And yet you must be at your best. That's a heavy kind of nobility." One paramedic, Jenna Morris, nodded slowly. She was the one who had kept a critically injured man alive with a manual ventilator in the back of a barely moving ambulance stuck in the crash traffic. "I still hear his breathing," she admitted. "When I close my eyes, I hear it in rhythm with the sirens. I don't even know if he made it." There was silence. Not awkward, honest. Princess Anne reached over and lightly touched Jenna's hand. "You gave him every chance," she said. "There's dignity in that." It wasn't a line from a script. It wasn't rehearsed. It was connection, simple and real. The weight of duty. Duty is often portrayed in big, ceremonial gestures. But that day in Liverpool, it wore hospital scrubs, turnout gear, reflective vests, and a navy coat. Princess Anne's visit wasn't about headlines or speeches. In fact, she made none. There were no press pools trailing her every move. The only cameras allowed were one local news crew and a single palace photographer. The rest was kept deliberately intimate, by her request. "I wanted to see the faces," she reportedly told a hospital administrator. Not the footage. Later that afternoon, as she prepared to leave, she passed by the small memorial table in the hospital atrium. 3 candles flickered there for the lives lost in the crash. Around them, handwritten notes and a few faded flowers. "Please subscribe to my YouTube channel." She paused. No one spoke. Then she bowed her head. Just for a moment. It was enough. In the wake of the storm, when the Princess Royal departed Alderstone Memorial, the sky had shifted slightly. The rain still came, but softer now, less like a curtain and more like a whisper. And while the world outside moved on, headlines changed, traffic resumed, the city exhaled. Those inside the hospital carried something with them that wouldn't fade as easily. For EMT Jenna Morris, it was the memory of a royal who listened without judgment. For little Ellie, it was a story she would one day tell her grandchildren. That the Princess Royal had once promised Mr. Snuffles a place in the Royal Guard. And for Fire Officer Patel, it was the realization that even those in the highest stations recognized what mattered most: courage in chaos, kindness without cameras, dignity without demand. The unseen crown. In every monarchy, there are moments when the crown is most visible not on the head, but in the heart. Princess Anne has worn many hats: equestrian, Olympian, royal patron, but in Liverpool that day, she wore the quietest and most powerful one: witness. She came not to be seen, but to see. She didn't speak from a podium, but listened in hallways. She offered no solutions, no royal decrees. Only presence. In the age of spectacle, such humility is rare. And yet, that's where true leadership often lives, not in grandeur, but grace. So while the city heals and headlines move on, the echo of that visit lingers. Not just in photos or press clippings, but in the spaces where human lives touched briefly and deeply. And somewhere in a Liverpool hospital room, a little girl tells her rabbit stories about the princess who came to say thank you and meant it. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.